can't do it. We'll do it live. Okay. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Mister, will you please wake up?
Wentz under center. Hands off to Taylor. Taylor, big run. He's at the 45, 50, 40, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10. Touchdown! Jonathan Taylor, 67 yards to the house. J.T. Painter. And that's the rushing record breaker.
This is Snowman in the morning.
Oh, yeah!
Cousins on third down out of the shotgun, takes the snap, four-man rush. Kirk pats it, fake, JJ, end zone, caught, touchdown! Justin Jefferson, back left to the end zone. It's a 12-yard touchdown. It's number 8 this season for JJ. And for Kirk, he has thrown 28. And the Minnesota Vikings have taken a 6-0 lead.
From the gun, quick lob over the top. Edwards reaches up and grabs it. Touchdown! Jackpot, baby!
Curry gets Thompson. It's like the NBA Finals from years ago. Pass goes over to Iguodala. Corner 3 is up and good. Not all the way in the corner, but toward the corner. Iguodala's in double figures. It's 97-89.
Shotgun. He's got it on fourth down. He's looking. He's flush. He's still looking. He's flush left. He's running and throwing. Touchdown! It's caught! There's another flag down. Harrison Bryant caught it in the end zone with a flag down.
Dead on. Yes, the Raiders sideline explodes.
I'll give a jackpot, partner.
Jackpot,
there you
baby.
Go.
4:37 to go. Draymond dumped it down to Iguodala. Back to the basket. Finds Curry. Circles to the right. 3-ball. Good. And the Warriors are breaking it open. A 10-0 one. Doug Christie wants another timeout.
I'm not even going to let a few health problems that tried to sock me in the eye Christmas weekend stop this. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Manic Monday edition of Snowman in the Morning as we get you ready for the new year. Lots to recap because Thursday and Friday of last week couldn't be on because I was ill. Saturday, I really got ill, was really under the weather, but I'm somewhat back to 100%. And for those of you that are watching via YouTube and via Twitch, it's only going to be audio until after the new year, and I'll explain that as we go along. Cole Johnson rides shotgun with me as always. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Doing fine. Sorry that you weren't doing so well, but I can't complain myself. But I'm glad you're doing better.
I'm glad I'm doing better too. I got the sweetest gift from my wife for Christmas. She calls me her dragon because I'm so protective, and she bought me, as she calls it, a gag gift, this deodorant holder that is in the shape of a dragon. And she said, I wanted to get you that as a gag gift. And I said, oh, no, that's one of the sweetest things you've ever gotten me.
That is nice.
And she bought me some Snowman pants, which y'all will see on camera pretty soon. All right, let's dive in. The Cowboys have clinched the playoffs, and we're never going to hear the end of the doggone thing.
No. Let's get it. Let's dive even deeper. So, the first half of Sunday night's football game happened, and every Cowboys fan known to man said,
God,
the Cowboys are Super Bowl champs.
You know what? I told my wife, please turn this off. I was going to go into my office and work on stuff. And she said, where are you going? I said, I don't want to watch this. The Redskins were getting destroyed by Dak Prescott. Why do I say Dak Prescott? What was the narrative last night? You know the answer to this question. And the folks who follow football for real know the answer to this question. What was the narrative last night?
Oh, well, the narrative was, since the Cowboys offense was in a slump and Dak was in the slump, can the Cowboys return back to their glory days of this year, back in September and early October?
And who was at the center of this narrative?
Oh, it'd be number 4, Dakota Prescott.
So
Not Trayvon Diggs, not Micah Parsons, not Ezekiel Elliott, not that offensive line, not any of the wide receivers. No, Dak Prescott. Yes.
And like you said, every Cowboy fan known to man, woman, and child.
Oh, gosh.
Are insufferable right now because they have clinched a playoff berth. And not to mention the NFC East title.
Which, with that division, was a foregone conclusion.
It was. It was a foregone conclusion that the Cowboys were going to win the NFC least. Yeah, I said it right. The NFC least.
What upset me about that performance last night from the Cowboys is that they could have done the same thing to them in Landover 2 weeks before, but
they turned the ball over.
Yeah, they decided to play around with them. They turned the ball over far too many times, and if Washington was a better team, they would have walked out of Landover with an L.
They'd have won that thing.
Yeah, they would have won that game against Cowboys.
That critical Broncos fan hanging with us says Dakota Prescott was lucky to play the Redskins team that just played on Tuesday in Week 15. Right. Ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, and with the starting quarterback who was off of COVID protocol to start Sunday night. So
go figure.
Yeah, so I was seeing I will say yes, this is the best performance the Cowboys have put forth all year because their defense played lights out. Their offense executed beautifully,
but the defense don't get any credit though.
That's the problem that I have.
The defense does not get, and that's the problem I have with it also.
With the coverage the Cowboys get, that's the biggest issue I have with it.
And that's their best unit. It's not the offense; it's the defense. The defense is their best unit. Mm-hmm. And they get no kind of love whatsoever. None.
No. And the only reason why they're getting some love is because you have Trayvon Diggs, who is inching into Everson Walls circa 1981 territory and having double-digit interceptions in the year. And if it wasn't for that,
who was in the building last night? Rodgers Starbuck was in the building last night. So why is it that the offense gets all the praise, all the glory, and none of the blame when they lose?
I think you'll love what I'm about to say. So
please say it.
So in 1998, we both were in our 20s when this happened. Major League Baseball was going through its renaissance with Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa hitting tape measure shots all over ballparks across America.
Yes.
Now, you and I love baseball, so even
the Astrodome was victim to McGwire and Sosa, and it's hard as hell to hit home runs in the Astrodome.
Yes, both. Yeah, they were victims of both. Now, you and I are both big-time baseball fans, so
yes,
when we talk about pitching, and if we talk about how the game is supposed to be played, the game that we would like to see is normally like a 1-0, 2-1, maybe 3-2 type games, not necessarily 10-8 or 12-10.
Right.
But the renaissance of this home run explosion came, and then we received the commercial that to me is the best commercial baseball ever produced. When you had Tom Glavine and Mike Maddox poke fun at how fans were just simply eating up every home run that you'd possibly get from these guys.
Yep.
And then Glavine said the key line, "Chicks dig the long ball."
I remember that commercial.
With the Cowboys, offense is sexy. It just is. They'd rather see like the Thanksgiving Day game. They'd rather see that, even though they lost the game. They'd rather see a shootout than one where the offense doesn't get on track, but the defense plays lights out. They'd rather see that type of game.
I'd rather see that type of game.
I would too. I'd
rather see that type of game where the defense actually balls out and wins a game. I was in Chicago in 1985.
Right. Yeah. And what sucks is their defense has been balling out. But if it hasn't been for Diggs, and it hasn't been for Michael Parsons showing that the dude could play two different positions on defense and do it well, you wouldn't hear about the defense.
No, you wouldn't.
And it's upsetting to me
It's horrible.
that this unit is getting upstaged, and they don't need to be, by the unit that they want to have the shine.
And you know what's going to happen once the playoffs begins? Dallas
Well,
is
it's gonna
going to
fail 'em.
take a team very lightly because right now it looks like they'll play my 49ers. And the 49ers are going to come in and punch them in the mouth.
Actually, if the season were to end today, and if I'm not mistaken, I think your 49ers still hold, and I have choice words for them. Your 49ers still hold this.
I've already said my choice words Thursday night because they let that one get away. That's the only sentence I'm going to say about Thursday night's game. They let that one get away. But the way the weekend is shaking out, with tonight's game included, they still hold the number 6 spot.
Yeah, I was about to say, if the season were to end today, the Cowboys right now hold the number 2 seed slot. So they would be playing the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
Your 49ers would be matched up with the Rams. Wow.
Oh,
okay.
So we get to sock them in the mouth. The way it looks right now, we get to sock the Rams in the mouth in their house twice to close this season and seal the playoff
back-to-back weeks.
And then we go back to Los Angeles and sock them in the mouth again.
And it may end that way because, all right. So here's how it will shake out. If the Rams basically, if the Packers win their game next week,
they got home field advantage.
Yeah, they
got home field advantage through the playoffs.
Yeah. So
congratulations, Packers. You're going to choke once again. I'm sorry. Did I say that?
So the Rams wouldn't have any motivation to have the number 1 overall seed.
They got no motivation. Look, you beat the hell out of Kirk Cousins.
Right. So then they have their playoff spot. Now they have to go for the NFC West Championship.
Mm-hmm.
So of course they have to beat the Browns, and then they cross their fingers and hope the Cardinals continue their slide against the Cowboys. Then they'll have the division wrapped.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have the Packers win their game, the Rams win their game, and the Cowboys beating the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
The Rams win the AFC West.
Which the Cowboys are.
Yeah, I believe they will. So then you have the Rams who win the NFC West, and they have no motivation whatsoever to play at home in SoFi against the 49ers. Should they actually win their game in against Houston, which they should.
They should.
And so there wouldn't be any motivation for the Rams to even play, which would suck, but that's just how it would be.
It's how it's shaking out.
Mm-hmm.
It's how this is shaking out. You know.
So you actually might get your wish. You might get your wish that they punch the Rams in the mouth in SoFi in the regular season finale.
Yep.
And then in the wild card weekend, they may do the same thing.
Get to bust them in the mouth again. Cool McCain is with us saying "Fly Eagles fly." Eric Wilson, who I'll have on in a minute, says bold prediction for the first time ever. The current number 6 and 7 seed are in the NFC Championship game, and you know what? I would love to see that.
I would love to say that. I don't think we will see it, but I would love to see it.
I would love to see that because I want to see the Eagles punch the Cowboys in the face.
I have grown. I've grown a really good like for the Eagles team because I love the fact that they just keep fighting, and they're rallying around Jalen Hurts, and I'm loving that. I'm loving how this team is giving this guy a big up, lifting him up as he's lifting the team up.
Yep.
You want to root for teams like that because you want to see them go as far as they go.
I want to see the Eagles and the 49ers in the NFC Championship game. And speaking of Eagles, here's Eric Wilson, who joins us right now. Good morning, Eric.
Gentlemen, good morning. You know I had to chime in. I heard you talking about the NFC playoff picture. So, Cole, good morning.
Listen,
Merry Christmas.
Morning,
Happy Kwanzaa. Brian, Merry Christmas. Happy Kwanzaa.
Christmas
I
to
just
you.
wanted to come on real quick and just say that, man. Bold prediction. Your team gets to punch the Rams in the mouth. We get to punch Dallas in the mouth.
Yep.
We take care of Green Bay and Tampa Bay and all them other teams, and then we meet in the NFC Championship game for the first time ever, the 6 and 7 seed. And it's a rematch of week 2, but we got to come see you.
You got to come to us in Santa Clara. I would love to see that. And as much of a 49er fan as I am, I wouldn't have a stake in the matter for two reasons. One, the Eagles are coming on lately. And two, we're at home. I would just sit in front of the TV with, I don't know, what did my wife cook this weekend? Meatballs, some other snacks, and watch a great NFC Championship game.
Yes, I would.
I
Too.
would
I
just
don't even care.
I wouldn't even care who wins.
Nope.
Okay, just as long
I
as
agree.
it's not Dallas, just as long as it's not Green Bay, and just as for sure it's not Tampa
As long
Bay.
as it's not Tampa.
And
oh my gosh. Yes.
Okay, here's how it would shake out. For Philadelphia, they would go to Dallas and sock them in the jaw.
Then we'd have to go to Green Bay.
You'd go to Green Bay and sock them in the jaw. All right? And you'd be waiting for us because we get to go to Los Angeles and punch them in the mouth.
Then you have to go to
Then
Tampa.
we go to Tampa and sack Tom Brady 9 times because he's never seen a defense with Nick Bosa on it. Okay? And all we'd have to tell you, punch your ticket for Santa Clara. So you got the bold prediction for the new year already, folks. Eagles and 49ers in the NFC Championship, and you know what? I'm going to ride with that.
All I want is this. I do not want to see the Cowboys in the NFC Championship.
Nope.
I do not want to see a repeat of last year's NFC Championship either. I do not want to see the Bucks and the Packers again.
Man, listen.
Because I do not want to hear this love affair and this gush affair that unfortunately my colleagues seem to want to have with, is this going to be the last time that Aaron Rodgers beats up with Tom Brady? I don't want to hear that.
You know what? I'm sick of Aaron Rodgers. I am absolutely sick of Aaron Rodgers.
Great show. I just wanted to pop on real quick. Many blessings. I will talk to y'all later, man. Y'all have a great show. Thank you.
I appreciate you, Eric. Love you, brother. Thank you.
Love you, man. Yeah.
I am so sick of Aaron bleeping Rodgers. Okay? I'm sick of Aaron Rodgers like I'm sick of Tom Brady. It's a gush fest with Prescott, with Brady, and with Rodgers. And I'm sick of all of them.
It's and the thing is, you're hearing analysts want to push for things like that. You know, we want to see the Bucks and the Packers.
That's why I do not watch A, Good Morning Football, or B, the Sunday NFL programs anymore. When the NFL Today was hosted by Brent Musburger, back in the day, they brought the real with football talk. And who was the shine? They brought the shine to who deserved it. Not today.
Yeah, and then the most sickening part. So before the Patriots got shellacked in Indy, you had an analyst on ESPN. Although, oh Lord, I cursed. I'm sorry.
Don't ever do that.
You had an analyst on, quote, the Total Sports Network, close quote,
which it ain't.
No, it's not. Say, quote, I am praying for a Buccaneers Patriots Super Bowl.
I saw that.
Quote.
I saw that.
I'm like, I don't really care about the Brady Belichick dynamic. I don't care about their history. I respect it. I don't care about it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to have I don't want to see the 2 weeks that we will see every single day of, well, who built the Patriots dynasty? Belichick or Brady? I do not want to see that.
I would be. Listen, I told you this. We talked about this on the show last year. Wife and I get settled. We're ready to see Chiefs and Buccaneers in the Super Bowl. Okay?
Oh, Lord. Yeah.
By the time the first quarter was over, Jody looked at me and I looked at her and we both went, "What the hell is this?"
And then the second quarter happened. The Bucks just ran away with it. And that was it.
We were done, okay? We were done. Man, I don't want that to happen again. I actually want a competitive Super Bowl that doesn't involve Tom Brady or Aaron bleeping Rodgers.
Yeah. I do too.
Oh
It's
boy.
bad enough the two of them will be MVP front runners, even though there's others
And
too
I got a
maybe that have better
problem with that. And
years.
I got a problem with that. We'll touch that when we get back. Cool McCain says, I want an Eagles win. Jason Elliott, I just hope it does not end up in a three-way tie between the Niners, Eagles, and Saints. The Saints are going to lose tonight to the Dolphins. I don't trust New Orleans, even though it's in New Orleans. I don't trust New Orleans
Oh,
minus a quarterback.
It's a tiebreaker between those three. Okay.
Mm-hmm. The Niners would lose the tiebreaker.
Yeah, they would be the short end. I figured they'd be in the short end.
They'd get the short end. So I'm pulling. I haven't pulled for Miami all year, but I am tonight.
Yes, you should.
I am tonight. A break, and someone made a bronze-sexual comment. Hold on. Bucks versus Packers is like a bronze-sexual talk. Man, you have no idea.
Woo!
And I got a couple bronze-sexual confessions today. Thank you, Brooklyn Nets, for Christmas night. Thank you, Brooklyn Nets, and this 5-game losing streak for the Fakers. We'll get into all of that. After a break, there should be a third person that should be talked about for MVP and should be the runaway winner. Runaway being the operative word. More about that after we come back. This is Snowman in the Morning on this Manic Monday edition.
I want to get back to seeing my grandbabies every Sunday and smothering them with big hugs and kisses.
I want to get back to football games with my boys.
I want to get back to feeling and touching, connecting with the people around me.
I want to get back to family dinners and my grandma's mac and cheese.
I want to get back to real grocery shopping, taking my time, walking down every aisle, smelling the tomatoes and melons, having a free sample or two, or 3.
COVID-19 has changed how we live and how we feel. But now, there are vaccines. And they are the first step that let us get back to feeling optimistic about the days ahead of us. It's okay to have questions.
Is it safe?
Should I get it?
Should I wait?
Now, get the facts. Learn more at getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision when vaccines are available to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
No matter what time of the year it is, there's always a time to get your vehicle cleaned and detailed and looking great. And the folks at Official Car Cleaning and Detailing can do the job for you. My buddy Isaac Moore will get you hooked up with the best of the best to keep your car looking sharp, looking beautiful, and looking ready for business. Give them a call today at 219-561-6645. That's 219-561-6645.
Man, do I love card night. You ready, boys? You got a king?
Go, fish dad.
Oh, come on. This is WWE superstar Titus O'Neil. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today. Learn more at 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? By their clothes, their age, the way they speak? Would you notice an 8-year-old girl who's not excited
for summer break because she may not be having lunch again until September?
Or a single father of 2 who works 3
part-time jobs and still can't put enough food on the table?
Or maybe a mother who cleans offices at night,
hoping to find meeting leftovers to take home to her hungry family.
Or a war veteran who's having a hard time
landing a job and getting back on his feet.
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. People you pass by every day but never knew were hungry. I am hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
Williams Hardwood Specialist offers all types of flooring. We specialize in sports floor resurfacing and installation. We also offer concrete resurfacing and epoxy overlays. Whether it's a small home with 2 bedrooms or the home the size of Michigan City's gym, Williams Hardwood Specialist is the way to go. If you need some hardwood flooring done or redone, give Williams Hardwood Specialist a call at 219-221-1093. That's 219-221-1093.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Want to know about the Twitter thing, the Facebook thing, and the Instagram thing? The ID you need is official SIT Morn. That's official SIT Morn. And thanks to my beautiful wife for that voicer. Listen, Jonathan Taylor should be the runaway MVP, period. There. Matter of fact, I'll slip a word in there that should describe Jonathan Taylor's MVP award that will describe Stephen Curry's MVP award. You know what that word is?
Unanimous.
That's the word.
Oh. Well, he will be unanimously snubbed.
He's already unanimously snubbed. Doggone it.
And what sucks is we're having the same type of discussion about Cooper Kupp. People were saying, well, hey, if he gets 2,000 yards receiving, which of course no NFL receivers had in the season, would he be considered MVP? And I answered the same way as with Jonathan Taylor. I was like, look, if Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers ended up being injured in weeks 17 or 18, then yes. Unless those two things happen, then we'll probably see it. Until it happens, unfortunately, it's going to go to one of those two, which, in my opinion, neither one deserves it.
Neither one has played like it.
Right. And it's not because, well, they've had many. No. It's when you look at them, it's like, okay. So, yes, they do make plays at stretches in games. But I don't look at either one of these two quarterbacks and say, okay, well, they have been the difference maker the whole game in any of the games I've seen this year of theirs. Where I can say this about Jonathan Taylor. Because I could point to two games where that was the case. The game in Buffalo and the game at home against the Patriots. He was the difference maker in both of them.
The sound you heard to help open the show, courtesy of my buddy Matt Taylor, the radio voice of the Colts, calling Taylor's 67-yard sprint to the end zone to seal that game.
That was a pretty run, too.
Jason Elliott says, can't sleep on Cooper Kupp. Jason, Cooper Kupp is okay, but I know a couple receivers who are better within the NFC West. One of which wears number 19.
Kupp will probably be in line for Offensive Player of the Year. And to me, that still would be a slight to Jonathan Taylor too. But I believe that is what
Jonathan Taylor will get the Offensive Player. They want Cooper Kupp in the conversation, and they won't put Jonathan Taylor in the conversation.
Yeah.
They won't put Jonathan Taylor in the an MVP can't be a running back. Marshall Faulk was.
He can't. Adrian Peterson, when he gained over 2,000 yards, was.
Adrian Peterson was. Terrell Davis was.
Mm-hmm. They most certainly can.
And both of them had 2,000-yard seasons.
Yeah. Yeah, because a running back, I know with today's NFL fan, they don't believe it because it's all about the quarterback, but
yeah, it's all about the passing yards.
It's all about the passing yards and stats of that nature. But you have to understand, if a running back can amass that amount of yards and has that type of presence, because if he amasses that amount of yards, that means the presence is great.
Mm-hmm.
That means the offense is tailored for this person to succeed. It means the defense actually gets help because that means they don't have to be on the field as long.
It means the offensive line is doing their thing.
So it means the offensive line is doing what they're supposed to be doing because one of the biggest assignments for them is, of course, to protect quarterback. No question. But what they want to do is they want to be physical. And you're not necessarily physical in pass protection. You're physical in run blocking.
Mm-hmm.
So offensive lines want to have that. So when you have that be physical and then you have a running team on offense, normally that means the defense is physical too on the front as well because they don't want to be upstaged by their offensive counterparts on their own team. So A running back can influence a whole team as much, heck, if not more at times, than a quarterback. Not even a question.
And Jonathan Taylor is such an influence.
Yeah, because to me, if it wasn't for Jonathan Taylor, this Colts would not even be anywhere sniffing the playoffs.
Speaking of the Colts, one of the gifts I got was a Colts hat. So I wore it Saturday, and the Colts went to Arizona and took care of business. It was tough sledding for Jonathan Taylor, but guess what? He still had 100 yards.
See, that's what I'm talking about right there.
He still had 108 yards, 27 for 108.
That's what I'm talking about right there. So it wasn't easy for him to get his 100, but they stuck with him, and they stuck with him, and he got his 100.
And he got his 100.
And because of that, the Colts played to their identity still. They still made plays. And because the Cardinals keyed in on Taylor, it left others to be playmakers like T.Y. Hilton.
Mm-hmm.
And of course Carson Wentz throwing a TD pass in the fourth quarter. That's what a running game does. And
it brings
of course
you
it
more...
helped the Colts defense fly and be restful and rested and have not Kyler Murray, other than the one run he had that was 50-ish yards. It focused them on shutting down what the Cardinals wanted to do.
And the worry I have change that sentence.
Concern.
I put it in the form of a question. What does Kyler Murray, Josh Allen, Dak Prescott all have in common? Matter of fact, throw you two more in there.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I said Kyler Murray, Josh Allen, Dak Prescott. Throw Matthew Stafford in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
What do they all have in common? They're being dependent on entirely too much.
Yeah, the whole team depends on their success.
You can throw Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers in that conversation because, as you pointed out last week, they have the tools to run. They just don't.
And that's what frustrates me about both those teams.
Mm-hmm.
The Bucs and the Packers. I'm like, you got aging quarterbacks. The one thing you need to have your offense do is be more reliant on the running game. You got the Packers. You have a quarterback who's in his upper 30s.
Mm-hmm.
With the Bucs, you have a quarterback who's in his mid 40s. You do not want him to drop back and throw 35, 40, 45 times a game, because one of those dropbacks, you might have a defensive lineman or a defensive end or an outside linebacker
who won't care who they are,
and
plant them.
Yeah, we'll supplant them in the ground, and the next thing you know, your whole team season is over because they're injured. No. And it frustrates me that those two teams decide to ride the arms of both those guys.
Their arms are going to be tired come the end of January.
That's why I really respect Frank Reich, because when he was the offense coordinator for the Eagles, they seem to want to pass a little more than I think he wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
But with the Colts, he realizes where the bread is buttered. It's like, yeah, Wentz is talented enough to give you a play or two.
Mm-hmm.
But these bullies up front, they want number 28 to shine. So that's what we're going to do.
Need to use them. And that's what Frank Reich is doing. He's using them.
That's what he's supposed to do.
He's using
them. And it makes Wentz look beautiful.
Mm-hmm. And it's going to be sad that Jonathan Taylor will get snubbed as an MVP candidate.
Yeah, I'm so proud of him.
I am too. I love Jonathan Taylor.
Because I saw him in Wisconsin, and my thought was, when he comes out to the pros, I hope people are not going to label him a bust like they have other Wisconsin running backs before him.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, because if that's the case, that would suck. But I love the talent I see with him back in college.
Yeah.
And he's gotten the opportunity to shine with the Colts. So happy he has, because he is not disappointed being one single iota.
He is on the right team with the right scheme and the right personnel.
Yeah. Love it. Love his personality. Love his style. Love the fact that he wants to be the guy.
He wants
to be the first, second, and third down back. And it's not just concerned with only carries.
Mm-hmm.
That if he has to pass attack, he can pick up blitzers. That's the type of running back I want to. I'll give you a little bit of inside baseball for you guys, because I was an offensive lineman. If you have a running back where you block for him and he could care less about pass protection, you will not block for him nearly as hard. You just won't. That's just human nature. You will not block for nearly as hard. But when you see your running back, not your fullback, although you love fullbacks too, but your running back, you see him, he has your back, and you may miss an assignment, because that happens.
Yeah.
Offensive lineman human. We may miss an assignment. We may be beaten by a swim move. We may be beaten by a spin move, circa Dwight Freeney. We may be, we may be beaten by a club move like a Reggie White. Well, if the running back picks him up, guess what we'll do the next time he gets the ball? Man, we will sell out run blocking for this guy, because we know he has our backs. We're going to make sure that he knows we have his. That is what we're seeing with the Colts offensive line and Jonathan Taylor.
And I love every minute of that.
Yeah.
I love every minute of that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many times do you just look up and say, here's Taylor, and you see him get the ball, and the next thing you know, he squirts out for a 10-yard gain, 9-10 yards.
Yeah. And that's the beauty. To me, yes, it's great when I see running backs go for, like with Taylor in the game, the game clinching touchdown run he did against the Patriots, going 67 yards for 6, taking it all the way to the house. It's great to see that, no question. I love it when you have a guy who he may not get but 4 yards to carry, because basically 27 carries, 108 yards, that's 4 yards to carry. He may only get 4 yards in a carry. But you stretch that out. If you were to have him run first and second and third down, that averages to a first down. So that's 12 yards for 3 carries. So that tells you, with this guy, he's not just a home run hitter, he can move the chains too. And that is a huge component for a team that actually wants to be a big-time play in January, because that type of offense travels.
As much as the Kansas City Chiefs are doing well, and they've won another AFC West title, congratulations to them, I still feel the most dangerous team in the AFC is the Colts.
And you won't be hearing that, but they are. And here's why you won't be hearing that.
The most dangerous team, and I've said it all year, especially the second half of the season, the most dangerous team is the Indianapolis Colts in the AFC right now. No one wants to see them, home or road.
And here's why you won't be hearing what you just said. So, of course, we talked about quarterbacks. People are enamored with the Packers because of Rodgers, enamored because with the Bucs they have Brady, enamored with the Cowboys because they have Prescott. Even to a certain degree, enamored with the Rams a little more because they got Stafford.
Oh God!
But with it is no difference with the Chiefs. Now, both of us have a huge amount of respect for Mahomes.
Man,
so this is not a slight at all. Not even a bit.
No.
Not even a bit of a slight. But casual fans will look at the Chiefs and say, well, the success is all due to him. And he's having a really good season. People don't know how good of a season he's had.
Right.
Even this year. But no, that's a collective effort. That's a team effort. And the reason why they're getting the shine is because they're seeing number 15 do things somewhat like he did in 2018 and 19, and even somewhat last year.
Right.
That's the sexiness of the Chiefs. There isn't anything sexy about the Colts, because people want to crap on Carson Wentz even after Saturday's game. They still want to dump on him. They still want to say he's not a good quarterback. They're still saying this team wins in spite of him. And
even though he threw a fourth quarter touchdown to seal the game.
Right. Even with that, they still say the Colts have to win in spite of them. They have to win because their defense is stingy and their defense is athletic all over the field. They win because their defense is led by Darius Leonard. They win because that offensive line is nasty. They win because Jonathan Taylor is a stud and a half. They don't win because number 2 is actually doing his job and managing his team to win, which that is what a quarterback's job ultimately is about doing. It's not about he has to get 300, 400, 500 yards passing in a game. It is to get his team to a W, no matter if he throws 500 or if he throws for 5. It doesn't matter. He's the leader of the whole team. He definitely is the leader of offense. He has to lead his team to a W, however it is.
And he's
Wentz
done
this
that
year's
9 times.
And yes, Wentz is doing that to the
He's
point
done.
where now, they're on the doorstep of a playoff berth, and if the Titans aren't careful, an AFC South Championship.
Yep.
And that is even with the Titans sweeping the Colts. So that's why you won't hear what you just said about the Colts.
No.
They're not sexy enough because Wentz isn't sexy enough. Unlike people saying that about the Chiefs being dangerous because of Mahomes, which they are, yes.
The Chiefs
But
are
that's why.
the exception to the rule.
Very much so.
The Chiefs are the exception to the rule. We got a break, but when we come back, I say thank you, Warriors and Suns, for a great Christmas Day game. And I also say thank you, Brooklyn Nets, for making the Fakers look like chumps. We'll talk about all that when we get back.
Grandbabies every Sunday and smothering them with big hugs and kisses.
I want to get back to football games with my boys.
I want to get back to feeling and touching, connecting with the people around me.
I want to get back to family dinners and my grandma's mac and cheese.
I want to get back to real grocery shopping. Taking my time, walking down every aisle, smelling the tomatoes and melons, having a free sample or 2 or 3.
COVID-19 has changed how we live and how we feel. But now, there are vaccines, and they are the first step that let us get back to feeling optimistic about the days ahead of us. It's okay to have questions.
Is it safe?
Should I get it?
Should I wait?
Now, get the facts. Learn more at getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision when vaccines are available to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. As a volunteer, you deliver a hot, nutritious meal and a friendly hello to someone just like your mother, grandfather, or next door neighbor. These seniors are inspiring people with incredible stories to share, and they love to see you. The smiles you get back are priceless. Delivering with Meals on Wheels is easy, and you don't have to drive like me for it to be quick. You can volunteer your lunch break once a week or just once a month. With 1 in 6 seniors facing hunger and many more living in isolation, your lunch break can make a real difference. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? By their clothes, their age, the way they speak? Would you notice an 8-year-old girl who's not excited
for summer break because she may not be having lunch again until September?
Or a single father of 2 who works 3
part-time jobs and still can't put enough food on the table?
Or maybe a mother who cleans offices at night,
hoping to find meeting leftovers to take home to her hungry family.
Or a war veteran who's having a hard time
landing a job and getting back on his feet.
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. People you pass by every day but never knew were hungry. I am hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling on it.
The dad joke. Corny, groan-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
What did the buffalo say when he dropped his son off for school? Bye, son.
So take a moment to make your kid laugh, because dad jokes rule. Make your kid laugh today. Go to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
This is Snowman in the morning.
So to the people who thought the Lakers were actually going to make a run with this lineup that they have, I only have one response and one response only. And that response is, ha 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 ha! You fool! What the hell were y'all thinking? They've now lost 5 in a row. They lost on Christmas even though LeBron put up 39 points. And if you see how this roster operates, it's a black hole. No matter who's in the game, no matter if it's Westbrook, no matter if it's LeBron, Carmelo Anthony. Oh, yeah, and their best player is gone for a month at least, and that is Anthony Davis. And there are some people that actually thought Anthony Davis is the problem.
You have reached.
Anthony Davis is the problem? Because according to y'all, he's not playing up to his potential. He's played up more to his potential than LeBron has. And a lot of people are not going to like me saying that, but it's the truth. Unfortunately for AD, he's just oft injured. That's it. He's just oft injured. And this will be another year where he will not play a full season. The moment he plays a full season, I will be impressed with AD because he didn't play a full year at Kentucky due to injuries. He did not play a full year at Kentucky due to injuries. Okay? And he's certainly not going to play he's certainly not played a full season in the NBA this year or any year. This is his 9th year. This is his 9th year in the NBA, and he's yet to play a full season. And people want to call him out for that and a few other things. Well, riddle me this, Batman. Why don't you do the same thing for LeBron and hold him accountable for not playing a full season? LeBron's only done it once, and that was 2018 when he actually suffered through a full 82-game season. And I say he suffered through a full 82-game season because he wanted to load manage like crazy. Tyronn Lue was on his way out. And half of that team was on their way out. So they lose 122 to 115. This is after the Lakers wiped out a 20-point deficit. They trailed by 20 at the end of 3. They wiped that deficit out, tied the game at 115, and didn't score in the final 90 seconds. And yet you supposedly have the best player in the world on your team? You supposedly have a walking triple-double on your team in Westbrook? You supposedly have one of the best scorers in NBA history on your team in Carmelo Anthony? Who the hell told these lies? Because even though I'm not the biggest proponent of LeBron James, I never said he was not a fabulous athlete. What I said was he ain't got that much going on in terms of basketball. And everybody wants to throw his stats at me and Carmelo Anthony's stats at me. I got a good friend named Trey Larkins who is a Carmelo Anthony fan. Okay? Carmelo Anthony is done. Finito. Finished. Washed up. Same with Westbrook. And yet LeBron's going to handpick them to be on the Lakers? It's not Frank Vogel who's running that team. And I said Frank Vogel became a sitting duck the moment he signed to coach that team. Frank Vogel has been a sitting duck since he was named the coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. title notwithstanding, in the bubble title in 2020, he's a sitting duck. The only reason he's lasted this long is because he won the title in 2020 after LeBron and company were given 4 months to rest. 4 months. You understand that? They were given 4 months to rest because of the COVID pause. That's the only way they win that title. I think LeBron's too chicken to play an 82-game season. He's already missed time this year. And now you want to call out Anthony Davis for not being there? For not you want to blame Anthony Davis for not doing his job? Really? He's done more of a job than LeBron has, or Westbrook, or Carmelo Anthony, or whoever the hell else is on that team. You had a chance, Los Angeles, to get this right, and you didn't. Okay? Now, I have something I am going to say, and a lot of people are going to think I'm crazy for saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. You messed up when you re-signed LeBron James to an extension. He does not make his teammates better. He doesn't. He never has made his teammates better. Ever. Ever. Including this one. Including this team that is supposedly a championship contender. Championship contender, my ass. If you all would just stop lying to yourselves, if Laker fans, do me a favor, if you all would just stop lying to yourselves about this team and go ahead and blow it up and send all the main components packing, including LeBron. Saw a tweet this morning that read, quote, everybody on this team better enjoy the time in LA that while they can, because LeBron eviction notices are coming soon. Close quote. That should tell you everything you need to know, because Carmelo's going to get dealt, Westbrook is going to get dealt, and I think he's going to get dealt before the deadline, if not right after the new year, because there are hot, heated talks now that Westbrook would be traded for Ben Simmons. And I got more to say about that later in the week. Oh, and by the way, this loss that the Lakers suffered on Christmas Day, the Nets didn't have Kevin Durant. You know, the same Kevin Durant who's beaten LeBron twice in the finals, allowing LeBron to win only one game during that time, which was 2017 when they won Game 4, thanks to a historically shooting night. Yeah, that one. That one. So you better be ready for those eviction notices, because they are coming. This team is 2 games under 500. And it's going to be even worse by the new year. Even worse. And this is not even having to see Phoenix on Phoenix's home floor, having to see the Warriors on their home floor in San Francisco. They're going to get blown out both times. They have to see the Warriors and the Suns 3 more times just within the division. and y'all thought this team was a 70-win team, was a championship contender, Stephen A. said it best. The Lakers can make their way to the Western Conference Finals, long as they don't see the Warriors before then. And the way the Lakers are playing right now, they won't even see past the end of their regular season schedule in mid-April. I say they should just blow this up and start again. Send LeBron packing. Send Melo packing. Send Westbrook packing. Send them all packing. And Anthony Davis, I don't know why you chose to stay in Los Angeles with LeBron. I know you got a taste of what a championship is like, but riddle me this. Is that really a championship? No, it's not. It really isn't. And it's sad that you put yourself in this situation, because it's going to be tough to get out of. Like I said, eviction notices coming very soon. Hour 2 after this.
These are the sounds of a dinner. But not just any dinner. A dinner that almost didn't happen. Because without food, it can't. A dinner now served, thanks to people like you. Due to COVID-19, 17 million more Americans may face hunger. Feeding America is helping our neighbors in need. And if you're able, you can too. Donations to the COVID-19 Relief Fund are being accepted at feedingamerica.org/coronavirus. Your help is needed now more than ever, and every dollar makes a difference. That's feedingamerica.org/coronavirus. On behalf of Feeding America and families nationwide, thank you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Feeding America, 200 Food Bank strong.
Excuse me, I know you have a 9 o'clock, so I'll keep this short. I'm the business suit in the back of your closet. You wore me nearly every day before your office went, quote, casual. I used to be the CEO of your closet. Now I'm just that one intern no one ever talks to. I always thought you'd circle back with me, get granular, keep me in the pipeline. But nada, nothing. Don't you remember the McKittrick presentation? You spilled coffee on me and I still looked amazing during the breakout talkback Q&A. So I think it's time for me to move on. I've got a great resume and I absolutely crush it in interviews, okay? Let's make this a clean break. Shift the paradigm. The only thing I ask is that you think outside the box here and do this. Take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create new jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff. Create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
The COVID-19 vaccines are starting to become available across the country. And as they become available, you may be asking yourself, should I get it? Will it help me get back to doing the things I love? Like going out to my favorite restaurants, meeting with friends in person, or going on vacation and traveling again? And can I do it all without putting my family and those I love at risk? And is it safe? You've got questions. That's normal, which is why it's so important to get informed. The medical community has made it clear. The vaccines authorized for COVID-19 have met the highest safety standards and can help protect us. Visit getvaccineanswers.org for all the latest information on the COVID-19 vaccines. That's getvaccineanswers.org. Getting back to the moments we miss starts with getting informed. It's up to you. A message brought to you by the Ad Council and the CDC.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad.
All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
This is Snowman in the morning.
Second hour of Snowman in the morning is here. All right, I didn't want to talk about this game, but I have to. The 49ers had a golden opportunity on Thursday to separate themselves in the NFC playoffs, or playoff chase. They're still sitting in the number 6 seed right now, and I'm pulling hard for Miami to beat New Orleans in New Orleans. But see, we shouldn't have to, because that's the second game in the last 4 where the Niners had at least a 10-point lead in the game, and they lost. They led 17-7 at Seattle, lost by 7. Led 10-0 at the half against the Titans, lost by 3 at the gun. The biggest problem I saw with San Francisco Thursday night is that they could not, in the second half, get off the field on third down. And you all know how I feel about that. That usually kills a team. When you cannot, especially when you have them backed up 3rd and 10, 3rd and 15, 3rd and 20. And somehow Ryan Tannehill gets completion after completion of at least 15 yards 3 separate times. And then Jimmy G throws an interception that leads to the tying score. The drive on third down, where I mentioned the Niners had him back 3rd and 15, 3rd and 20, and they couldn't get off the field. Now, the only kudos I give to San Francisco is tying the game late, but they never saw the ball again. Tennessee walked right downfield on that defense and got the game-winning points with 4 seconds left. That's a team we should have handled. Now, I'm sorry. That's a team we should have handled that was reeling, that had lost 3 in a row, that should have taken an L on Thursday night. That's a bad news. But the good news is they still hold the number 6 seed as of right now. If New Orleans loses, then that's pretty much a clinch. Well, what the Niners have to do to keep destiny in their own hands is win their last 2 games. They got to beat Houston and not take them lightly since they beat the Chargers. And they have to go to L.A. and club the Los Angeles Rams. They have to have the same mentality that they had in Santa Clara. And everybody expected the Rams to win that game. Nope. Niners beat them 31-10. But the team you cannot take lightly is Houston, because they scored a big upset win over the Chargers that knocked the Chargers, for the time being, out of the playoff picture. Not only that, Houston scored 41 points on Sunday. 41 points. You tell me, how the hell is that possible that a Houston team going through all the mess they went through, or have gone through, scored 41 points on a high-scoring team like the Chargers? '49ers have some problems. Yes, they do. They're still missing quite a few people, but injuries can no longer be used as an excuse when you had 2 teams down by at least 10 and you choked both games away. I said it right. They choked. it would be a complete disaster if they lost either one of these final two games. Because if they lose either one, they're on the short end. After rallying around their team several times over during this season to get to 8-7. It should be 9. It should be 9-6, but you know what? 8-7 in a 17-game season, I'll take it. I'll take it. And they hold the tiebreaker over Philadelphia because we beat Philadelphia earlier in the year. So Miami needs to go down to New Orleans and take care of business. Tua or no Tua. And I expect them to win tonight. And that's one of the only ways the 49ers will have their playoff destiny back in their own hands. Is if New Orleans is put out of their misery and is gotten out of the way. But there's some focus that needs to be gotten back with that team. There are some focus problems that I saw on Thursday that frightened me. I mentioned one of the problems, getting off the field on third down. The pass rush just couldn't get home to Tannehill in that second half. All second half, they couldn't get to Tannehill. The Titans were doing nothing in the first half. Nothing. And they couldn't keep it going? I know we've had clunkers like this all season. Arizona at home, Seattle on the road and at home. This one in Tennessee. We had the Packers on the ropes, but Aaron Rodgers did Aaron Rodgers things. This could be a season where the 49ers could have easily sealed their playoff berth if they won the games they were supposed to. 4 of them in the NFC West division. 2 against Arizona, 2 against Seattle. They could have won all 4 of those games, or at least 3 out of the 4, and the only one that they could not have won is the one where Trey Lance started, got them to the 1-yard line, and threw an incompletion on 4th and goal instead of taking the doggone points. The Eagles need to win 2, and the 49ers need to win 2 to seal those final 2 playoff spots. And I will boldly say, once the 49ers get in, they're going to scare a lot of teams in the NFC. You heard Eric Wilson earlier on the show. Eagles and 49ers from Santa Clara in the NFC Championship game. Not the Cowboys, not the Packers, not the Buccaneers. And certainly not the Cardinals or the Rams. The Rams will be happy with just clinching the NFC West. They don't want to go anywhere after that. You can see it. You actually expect Matthew Stafford to get a playoff win? You actually expect Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay or no Sean McVay, to get a playoff win? I certainly don't. I certainly do not. Matthew Stafford is going to do Matthew Stafford things in the playoffs. The Vikings have essentially been eliminated. And the Vikings don't deserve to get in given the way that they played. Let's take a timeout. We'll take a timeout, and when we come back, the Western Conference Finals in the NBA, I believe, has already been settled. And they played each other on Christmas Day. And I will tell you why strength in numbers is just that. You're listening to Snowman in the Morning on YouTube and Facebook, and 24 hours a day at snowmaninthemorning.com. I'll be back.
Excuse me. I know you have a 9 o'clock, so I'll keep this short. I'm the business suit in the back of your closet. You wore me nearly every day before your office went, quote, casual. I used to be the CEO of your closet. Now I'm just that one intern no one ever talks to. I always thought you'd circle back with me, get granular, keep me in the pipeline. But nada. Nothing. Don't you remember the McKittrick presentation? You spilled coffee on me and I still looked amazing during the breakout talkback Q&A. So, I think it's time for me to move on. I've got a great resume and I absolutely crush it in interviews, okay? Let's make this a clean break. Shift the paradigm. The only thing I ask is that you think outside the box here and do this. Take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create new jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff. Create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. As a volunteer, you deliver a hot, nutritious meal and a friendly hello to someone just like your mother, grandfather, or next-door neighbor. These seniors are inspiring people with incredible stories to share, and they love to see you. The smiles you get back are priceless. Delivering with Meals on Wheels is easy, and you don't have to drive like me for it to be quick. You can volunteer your lunch break once a week or just once a month. With 1 in 6 seniors facing hunger and many more living in isolation, your lunch break can make a real difference. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Looking for a premier new or used car and you're in the South Shore area? Visit Jaguar Land Rover South Shore, the premier new and used car dealership in Northwest Indiana. Visit our state-of-the-art facility for all of your sales, service, and parts. Visit them online at jlrsouthshore.com or pay a visit to 5781 West Lincoln Highway in Crown Point. Or you can give them a call at 219-245-2500. That's 219-245-2500.
He flew fighter jets in 2 wars and taught you how to drive a car. He fed everyone on the block, but never shared his secret recipes. And every time he'd tell a story, he'd own the room. But now more than ever, he may feel alone. Today, older adults and their loved ones are struggling to connect in a time when connection has never been more important. But there is something we can do. Embrace our older loved ones through StoryCorps Connect. With StoryCorps Connect, you can honor seniors remotely with an interview about their life. Every interview will be archived at the Library of Congress, becoming part of American history, so that years from now, future generations can listen in.
All right, Grandpa, what's one piece of advice you have for me?
Just 3 words, sweetheart. Live with courage.
The man that had the best stories still has plenty of stories to tell. So connect virtually and share the conversation of a lifetime at storycorpsconnect.org/AARP. Connect, honor, share. StoryCorps Connect. A message from AARP, StoryCorps, and the Ad Council.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
The NBA Western Conference Final is set. Oh, wait, I'm not supposed to say that aloud.
It's December, not May. You got 5 more months.
Oh, that's what the common Faker fan would say.
Oh, Lord. Oh, well, of course,
True
because they would
false?
say the Nets and the Lakers would be, they'd say the Nets and Lakers would be even as hideous as they have looked as of recent. Hence why you had Mike Breen and Stan Van Gundy and Mark Jackson on the call in that game and not in the desert.
Hey,
But
Mark Jones called a great game in the desert, all right?
I love
cool.
Mark Jones. I love Mark Jones. Love him.
Matter of fact, Mark Jones should be the lead announcer for the NBA on ESPN. Oh, did I say that aloud?
And there's no shade to Mike Breen. He's pretty good too. But yeah, Mark Jones, I love him.
Look, it's no shade to Mike Breen, but Breen should stick with the Knicks, and Mark Jones should be the man in charge, leading that coverage.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do tend to hear Nick stuff similar to with Marv Albert, but he was more skilled. I think a little bit more skilled than Breen is.
Marv Albert
and not being so Homer. Yeah.
Marv Albert's old school, okay? Marv has done a lot more sports than Mike Breen has.
Yeah.
Hell, I'll even accept Michael Kay doing baseball on NBC or ABC. See, a lot of this stuff I'm not supposed to say aloud, but I'm
And
saying
why
it
is
aloud.
that?
I'm saying it aloud anyway. Why am I
And
not?
why are you?
Why am I not
Yes. Why are
supposed?
you banished? Yes. Why are you banished in saying this aloud?
Why am I banished to saying this aloud? Because a lot of people don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to broadcasting.
Well, that's true.
I've been told as such. You have also.
hmm And never mind the fact we've been studying this pretty much our entire lives. Forget that. Yeah. We wouldn't understand that. I mean, 8 decades combined of knowledge and study and research of how things are supposed to sound play-by-play wise and color wise. Yeah, we didn't put the time in for that.
Which
No.
continues to this day.
hmm
Anyway,
Yeah.
back to my thesis statement.
Yes, sir.
The NBA Western Conference Finals is set, and it does not involve the Lakers. It doesn't involve the Fakers. It doesn't involve the Crippers. It doesn't involve the Utah Spaz. It doesn't involve.
Writing that one down. Utah Spaz. That's a good one.
It doesn't involve the Nuggets or the Portland Trailblazers. It involves the Golden State Warriors and the Phoenix Suns. And anybody who watched that game on Christmas Day on ABC, which was the only one I watched of the Christmas Day offerings the NBA put together, you see it.
The level of play that those two teams put forth, regardless of who won that game Saturday, regardless of who won.
Exactly.
The level of play both teams put together, you would have thought, and actually, speaking of Mark Jones, he and I think Doris Burke actually co-signed on this.
Doris Burke did the game also.
Underrated color woman.
Oh, yeah.
They actually said the intensity, especially from the first to the second, when they saw the second quarter, the intensity was rivaling that of a playoff matchup.
Mm-hmm.
So if these professionals can see that, then the casual fan has to see it. There's no question. The level of play that was the highest level play I've seen this year on any NBA court.
Yep.
Period.
Yep. And you know why strength in numbers is such a thing now for Golden State? Because you'd have thought Steph Curry would close the game on Saturday.
Nope.
It was Otto Porter Jr. with 9 consecutive points. Or 7 consecutive points.
7, yeah.
7 in a row. You hold Phoenix scoreless, and you get your 9-point win.
Yeah, I was saying that
Otto
proved to be the
Porter
difference.
Jr.
Yeah, that proved to be your margin.
And all three buckets came on, I don't know, jump shots.
Jump shots. Here's the thing about what you just said. When we're in these conversations in the NBA, rooms, Twitter, whatever, the predominant thought is which superstar carried which team to glory.
Mm-hmm.
And it never is about the supporting cast of the elite player. Never. And the year I learned how important a supporting cast is to an elite player, I knew it before this year, but when I knew it firsthand, it was 1994 because Hakeem Olajuwon was a stud and a half.
Yeah.
He was a stud and a half. But I guarantee you, there was a few of those games where Hakeem, he did his normal numbers, but he didn't have one of those spectacular nights.
Right.
And you had a Kenny Smith hit a key 3, or Vernon Maxwell hit a key jumper, or Mario Elliott hit a key 3, or Otis Thorpe getting a putback.
Otis
You know,
Thorpe.
the supporting cast is huge.
Yep.
And you saw it firsthand sooner with the Bulls. The supporting cast is huge.
John
Yeah,
Paxson
John
rescued
Paxson.
us twice. John
You
Paxson
know,
rescued us twice.
So the concept of the superstar has to be the guy to carry the wagon every single time at the end of games is erroneous. And
Very much so.
And even though seeing Curry go for 50, that's dangerous. Yes, no question. Have seen him do triple-double numbers. That's dangerous. No question. To me, what is even more dangerous is what you just said.
Strength of numbers.
Yeah. Having Otto Porter come and be key in key moments. Having a Looney be key in key moments. Having a Jordan Poole, who's now becoming a key component of the whole Warriors operation. Rise up and have key moments. Having Gary Payton Jr. come up with a key stop on defense.
Jonathan Kuminga getting key buckets in the third period.
Jonathan Kuminga. Yeah. Who now his name is being mentioned more and more. When you hear those names mentioned, not nearly as much, but when you hear those names collectively mentioned as much as a Steph Curry or Draymond Green, that's when you have to say, oh, Lord, now we in danger. Because
the NBA is not ready for this kind of Warriors team.
Right. We can key in and stop the number 30. And we can try to do our best to box out number 23 and have him limit his opportunities to facilitate the offense like he does from the post. But when you have the role players come up huge,
GP2
as often as the superstars do, that is when you have to say, this ain't our year. And to me, that is what makes the Warriors dangerous. Not Steph, the supporting cast around them, because they want to rise up, unlike they did last year. They want to rise up and say, okay, I see what you're doing. We back your play, Steph, because he is the straw which stirs the Warriors drink.
Yep.
And now we're seeing the Warriors supporting cast be stirred along with Steph. Now they have the best record in the NBA as we speak.
This is why the Suns and Warriors will play in the Western Conference Finals, because these are the two best teams in basketball right now.
Yeah. And the Suns are not that far behind in terms of not just a record, but in terms of philosophy. Because if you were to play them for thinking that team is all Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, and Chris Paul,
you'd be mistaken.
You'd be sunk. You'd be mistaken. You'd be sunk, and you'd be gone in 4 or 5 games. Because their supporting cast is coming up huge too.
Jay Crowder killed us the first time we played them.
Oh man! And Jay Crowder looked like he wanted to kill.
Jay Crowder absolutely killed us in Phoenix the first game we played against them.
And Jay Crowder wanted to come up and try to do the same thing Saturday.
Yeah, this time the Warriors were ready for him.
Yeah, they were ready for him. Him, and of course you can't talk enough about Mikal Bridges. What he does on both ends of the floor at all. You cannot talk enough about him. You have them. You have Campaign, who when you forget about him, oh, here's a defensive stop. Oh, here's a bucket.
Here's a steal and a bucket.
Here's a steal. What
Chris
I'm
Paul,
loving about both teams, man, they are so deep and they're so talented. I love that.
Chris Paul reminds me of in a Suns uniform, Kevin Johnson.
The only thing that Paul doesn't have that Kevin Johnson did is those ups.
Yes.
Other than that, yes. The way Chris Paul runs a team is similar to how Kevin Johnson ran the Suns in the
It reminds me
early
so much.
mid-90s.
It reminds me so much of KJ in that uniform on that team.
Yeah, and I don't think it's far-fetched for you to say that in mid-May to late May, we're going to be seeing these two teams duke it out again.
Memorial Day weekend.
Series.
What did I tell you? Memorial Day weekend. Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
Now you missed all the fun when you got called away to duty. When I spoke and said, "Thank you, Brooklyn Nets, for making the Lakers look like fakers.
You actually thank the Nets for something? I'm surprised.
Don't be.
But I understand.
You already know my philosophy.
Mm-hmm. Look, I saw the first 3 minutes of that game, and when I saw the score be 20-9 Nets, I was like, oh, the game's done. I don't even have to worry about the Lakers coming back. I turned that joker off and went and spent the rest of my night with the fam. I'm like, man, I'm not fool with this.
You didn't even fool with it.
No. I didn't even see LeBron get dunked on. I didn't
watch one piece of that game. I saw the highlight where LeBron got dunked on, and I got a score alert. I went to sleep.
Here was the beautiful part about that. Here's the beautiful part about that. The Nets spanked the Lakers in Staples Center, Crypto.com arena without Kevin Durant. That's the most beautiful part.
Yeah, it is.
They skunked him without Durant on the floor.
They held him scoreless for the final 90 seconds. The Nets got the last 7 points in the last 90 seconds, and there was no Kevin Durant available to them.
Oh my gosh, I was so happy to see that, because I really do hope that Lakers Nation really understands how foolhardy it was for you all to throw parties back in the summer saying that the championship was yours, and you would have Larry O'Brien for the 18th time darken the doorsteps of your arena come June, because you had, as the dirty 4-letter word, color analyst Kendrick Perkins has often said, quote, 6 Hall of Famers, close quote, on the team. And you have said this, I have said this. Why would LeBron want to have such fossiled players on the team, knowing how youth could serve him? That is what I do not understand. That's the part I cannot reconcile, because I thought LeBron was the most intelligent basketball player we've ever seen. I thought his basketball IQ was the elite of the elite. Well, if that's the case, then he makes for a horrible general manager. Yeah, I was going to say, if that's the case, he makes for a horrible general manager, because he would know that, yeah, you need to have veteran leadership, no question, but you need to have youth to balance it out. And you need to have a little more in the players in the prime department instead of just one. And it boggles my mind that they thought a team that's as old as it is, because I think they collectively, on the average, are 33 years of age, would actually pull the championship together. Sad.
I mean, the Bulls did it with Superman, Batman, and Rodman, but they all played together. They knew each other's tendencies.
Yeah.
I mean, they knew each other very well. MJ and Scotty knew Rodman from his days in Detroit. They bring him to Chicago. I'm like, you already know what you have to do. This conversation's over. Let's go win. And speaking of the Bulls,
yeah, let's
game and a half out of the top seed in the East. They've already beaten the Nets twice.
Once by double digits.
With a 42-point fourth quarter.
So the only issue I may have about them is that they can keep up the defensive intensity. If they can do that, I think they will actually have a better claim to the Eastern Conference crown. Their defense seems to be up and down for my liking.
And it is.
Yeah. But besides that, and that's just nitpicking, basically. Besides that, for a team that's only been together the way they've only been together for, 3 months?
And that's why their defensive intensity is up and down. They're still learning each other defensively.
The chemistry on the offensive end is absolutely outstanding.
The chemistry on the offensive end is crazy. The chemistry on the offensive end is absolutely nuts.
Yeah. And knowing the wealth of young talent, and this is the opposite of what we were talking about with the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
You have the veteran leadership with the DeMar DeRozan. You have some players in their prime or about to enter in their prime, like Alex Caruso. I know he's a role player, but still he's in his prime years. And you have youth on your team, and Zach LaVine too. And you have youth on your team in Lonzo Ball. You have this collection, this mix of players who, when the veterans don't have it physically, the youth can take it.
Mm-hmm.
When the youth get in the moment where they need to have some type of wisdom be whispered in their ear, the veterans can come in. And when you need to see how it's modeled, you have the veterans who can actually execute it more on a nightly basis. That's there. You cover all your bases. And that's why this team is going to be really successful and totally dangerous when we get to the playoffs.
4 teams in the East. 5 have at least 20 wins. Brooklyn, the Bulls, Bucks, Heat, and would you believe it, the Cleveland Cavaliers.
That is the surprise. More so than the Bulls. Because I figured the Bulls were going to be successful. Now, if I were to say that if I were to play the game, raise your hand if you thought that in December 26th, the Bulls would be the number 2 seed in the East, I would not be one that would raise my hand.
I would.
But
I thought they'd be number 1 in the East, quite frankly, because I saw this being built.
Yeah, I didn't think they'd be 2. I thought they'd be like maybe 3, 4, or 5,
right
around there.
Right.
But 2, I did not think they would be that high. To me, they're just a smidge ahead of schedule, which I'm loving.
Yep, and they have 2 games in hand with Brooklyn.
Yeah,
because they beat their ass in the United Center, came back from a double-digit deficit in New York to beat them there.
Oh, and let's talk about the double-digit comeback in Boston. if you want it, to me, if you want to know what I think about that team, you look at that game where they had if I'm not mistaken, they went to the fourth quarter down double digits, right?
Down 14.
Yeah. They came into the fourth quarter down 14. They left that building winning by 14.
They were down 103 to 89 going into the final 12 minutes, and they won that game 128 to 114.
That to me is the fabric of what I believe the Bulls are, because they believe in one another. They don't believe they're out of any game.
Right.
And they believe in their system enough to where.
And they damn near wiped out a double-digit deficit and won in Philadelphia.
Right. They believe themselves enough.
They got to within 5, but just ran out of time.
Mm-hmm. They believe in themselves enough to look at the scoreboard and say, okay, we don't see all 4 zeros with a 4 on the scoreboard, so we've got a chance. The fact they don't quit, I love that about the Bulls. That's going to serve them well.
Yes, it
when
is.
They get into the stretch run and when they get into the playoffs in mid-April.
Yes, May. It is.
They're gonna do a wonderful job of resurrecting what the Bulls were. Maybe not necessarily in the 90s, but I'll definitely give them what they were like in 2011, 2012.
Yep. I'll give them that. I think I just missed Jay. Hopefully Jay will call back in just a moment.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's Monday. Hopefully we'll get Jay Spivey here in just a moment. Let's go back to football while we're thinking about it.
Sure thing.
I will tell you the comeback player of the year right now. And he should also be in conversation for defensive player of the year.
Let me see. He wears the scarlet and gold.
Yep.
He has a 9 and a 7.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Nick Bosa. I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. I think he should end up with the comeback player of the year. And if he doesn't end up with defensive player of the year, to me, I think he's a front runner for that award.
Yeah.
Because they got to award him because he has been an absolute stud in 2022. 2021, I'm sorry. He's been a stud.
Yeah. And there's a fella named TJ Watt who's going to probably get the Defensive Player of the Year. Here's Jay Spivey on the line with us. Jay, how are you?
Doing well. How you guys doing?
Doing good, man. I hope your Christmas went well, bro.
It was about as quiet as a Christmas could be. I hate to admit to this, but I spent the entire day by myself, which was, and it might sound a little weird, but it was one of the best ones I've had in a long time.
I totally understand that.
I kid you not. I was by myself the entire day.
Hey, sometimes those kind of Christmases work. All right.
All I did, I watched football all afternoon. That's all I did. But I hope you guys had a good Christmas too.
I had a wonderful Christmas.
Same here.
I had a wonderful Christmas. Now, can we get Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady off our television sets, please?
You're going to see a lot of them in the next month or so.
That's unfortunate, but you're absolutely correct, sir.
Month to 6 weeks, you're going to see a lot of both of them.
Yeah,
you're absolutely correct.
They're going to flex a lot of games to get them into prime time. I know that.
Well, Rodgers will be on Sunday night. I'm assuming Brady will be on at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, their schedule, I mean, they got the Jets and the Panthers, so we probably won't see too much of them.
This is true.
Yeah. Oh, and speaking of the Panthers, let me congratulate them. They did a wonderful job in handing the Bucs the NFC South Championship yesterday. It was a wonderful performance.
They look like a JV. They look like a JV football team out there. I mean, what a joke they are right now.
Yeah, and it's
and
it's
they're making
horrible to see
themselves
this.
They're making themselves look even more clownish by playing interchangeable quarterbacks. You can't do that.
What is Sam Darnold doing back on the field anyway?
That's a good question.
What is Sam Darnold doing back on the field anyway?
My word, it's just bad.
And Cam actually backs Matt Rule. What?
Yep, but probably because he's giving him a job. No other team wants him.
No other team should want him.
But
he can't throw anymore.
Is that how we're going to treat a future Hall of Famer?
Yes.
Well, I know you're joking.
Yes.
but he's not a Hall of Famer.
Future Hall of Famer, my eye. You even know. Wait a minute. Is that how we're going to treat a future Hall of Famer? I don't see Steve Young in the building. He's already in the Hall of Fame. Okay.
Oh my gosh! Look, I would vote for Jake Delhomme. Jake Delhomme before I'd vote for Cam Newton.
Jake Delhomme could probably still throw a ball right now.
Jake Delhomme can actually throw a seam route.
Yes. But
Sam Darnold and Cam Newton can't throw a freaking seam route. We've said this all year.
What little I watched of that game yesterday, he just looked like he was just like glued to the turf.
That's a wonderful way of putting it.
Mm-hmm.
He was glued
to the turf.
It's a bust defensive front got after him that game.
To look what he's become after what he was, I mean, it's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And yet, the Panthers brought him back. They allowed him to be a starting quarterback, and now they're in an interchangeable system. Send them both packing.
Absolutely. They're going to have to. They're honest. I know you said this for a while, Brian. I mean, they just have to just blow this up and start from scratch.
Push the plunger, blow it up, and start over.
They
have to. It's just gone.
Yeah. There is nothing remaining from that Super Bowl 50 team. There's no attitude. There's no attitude. There's no sense of urgency. Nothing.
There's no effort. And if there was even that, I would say, okay, we have something to build on in the future with the Panthers. But the way that the Panthers organization is now, Jay, I hate to say this, man. The organization is insulting Charlotte. They're insulting that city.
Absolutely. And,
absolutely they are.
The guy that we've been talking about for weeks and months now, Brian, actually came out and said that it's a clown show, and I've been saying that for months.
You've been saying that for the 2 years Jay, you've been saying that for the 2 years we've been on air together.
Yep. And you just couldn't say now he's admitting to it.
Jay was the first one When the Panthers signed Sam Darnold, Jay was the first one to effectively go, what the hell are they doing?
Well, I mean, to me, it starts from the top. To me, it starts with David Tepper.
Starts with David Tepper.
Starts with David Tepper, and it goes all the way down to the last guy on the special teams unit. It goes all the way down. I mean, everybody needs to be accountable, and Matt Rule is clearly not the answer here. And they're going to have to, if they do cut bait with him, they're going to have to pay a huge portion of his salary. That's a big salary.
Yeah, that's a huge salary. I still go back to the question why they hired Matt Rule in the first place.
Well, David Tepper again. He thought he was great.
Yeah, he thought Matt Rule was great because of a little bit of success at Baylor.
Yeah,
okay.
I was saying he was wowed by the fact that Rule had this wonderful system in Baylor offensively where he was basically putting pinball machine numbers. And figured,
I got news for Tepper.
Bring that down here.
Okay,
Baylor and Temple aren't the NFL.
Exactly.
I mean, they're just not.
I mean, first of all, you played in the Big 12 where defense was optional.
No.
Oh gosh.
It wasn't optional. It was not even.
It was non-existent. It was non-existent. It wasn't even a requirement to play defense in the Big 12. Still isn't. Second of all, you're talking about reviving a program and only having a short amount of time to do it because they were on him.
Yeah,
They were on him after that whole coaching change happened. After that scandal came out.
Right,
they were on Matt Rule to fix that program anyway. They were on Matt Rule to fix that program after the whole Art Briles scandal came out.
Well, if you remember when Briles got fired, they hired former Wake Forest coach Jim Grove to kind of help out a little bit with that change. And even as great a job as Jim Grove did, and as nice a guy as he is, I mean, you couldn't bridge that gap at all.
Nope.
I mean, Matt Rule did do a good job, but just, jeez. I mean, he is clearly not an NFL coach. At least,
listen, Tepper needs to go. Okay,
Tepper's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
he owns the team,
I know,
so he ain't going nowhere. Yeah, he ain't going nowhere.
But if Tepper does go, who do you put in his place?
We could just throw that out the window. He's not going anywhere. He's not selling this team.
Yeah.
So who do we put in Matt Rule's place?
Well, they need the GM is clearly lost.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to get rid of Rule. And really, truly, they're just I know it's probably going to kill them on the salary cap. They probably just need to cut bait with McCaffrey too.
Yeah.
Well, they.
I know they're going to eat a huge chunk of that salary, but he's not
Go
giving
ahead
anything now.
and eat. Just go ahead and eat it because he can't stay on the field.
What sucks about that though is when I mentioned effort earlier. The only time that I can, on a consistent basis, see effort on a Panthers uniform is him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's the only time.
That is true.
And you said it, Brian, and you said it, Jay. The dude just simply can't stay on the field because he gives so much of his body every time he's out there on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have that weapon gone for lengthy stretches at a time, what is this Panthers team?
Well, that's it. They built this team completely around him.
Around McCaffrey.
Right.
And now he's not on the field, and then they got nothing. And that they didn't address any of the needs that they have in the draft at all. I mean, and they could have gone offensive line, they could have gone receiver, and they got nothing. Instead, they went for
Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle were there for the taking. Penei Sewell and Rashawn Slater were there for the taking, and they got none of them.
And now, I heard this talked about with a number of teams yesterday. The draft is usually pretty quarterback heavy. This quarterback draft
not this year.
Not this year.
It's going to Kenny Pickett and maybe Sam Howell, and that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Kenny
it.
Pickett is by far the best quarterback in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then you go down, and Sam Howell's a distant second.
Very distant. Very distant.
So what are you going to do? I mean, there's not many quarterbacks. And like I've said before, I know I sound like a broken record, but it's the worst coach position in football.
It is.
So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? There's no guys to sign.
You need to say it again, Jay, because I totally agree with you. The way the quarterback position is today in the NFL, and yes, in other levels of football too, but definitely NFL.
It's poorly
atrocious.
coached. It's
It is
poorly
atrocious.
coached because you can see
Well, they
it.
see these.
You can see it
they
in the
see these-
quarterback play. You
well,
can
they
see
see
it in
in
the play
these
on the
quote
field.
unquote. They see in these quote unquote running / athletic quarterbacks. So, you can sort of build your team around that for a year or two, but eventually the quarterback's going to get hurt
Yep.
because they're going to get slammed all the time.
And the latest
unfortunately,
example.
You
And
can't
the latest
expose your
example.
quarterback to that hit all the time.
And the latest example, Lamar
Lamar
Jackson.
Lamar Jackson.
He is hurt big time.
He is
I got a
done.
feeling he's more hurt now than they're letting on.
Mm-hmm.
I
He
agree,
is. He's
too.
done for the year. He's done.
I really believe it will have to take having Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, all for the year have to be gone because of the play that these teams
of the play of the
and their
quarterback.
quarterbacks do.
When you look at it, Josh Allen is very similar in the way he plays to what Cam used to play when he was younger.
Yes.
And he's going to get beat up. And he's taken a beating the last couple of weeks. You can see it.
He got beat up yesterday in New England.
There's only so many gut punches you could take before you're going to get knocked out.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And look at Cam Newton. He is a shell of his former self.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I was arguing with a Bills fan about Josh Allen, and he was coming up with all the stats that Allen has put forth.
Of course,
look, you can come up with all the stats you want, and I'm not saying that he's a sorry quarterback. He's awesome. I'm saying his number's called too often.
Mm-hmm.
And one of these days, when he goes off on one of those runs, and an offensive back or a linebacker or defensive end, God, I hope it is not a defensive end, just simply grabs on
falls
him
on him
and falls on him, and all that 300-pound weight just crashes on him, and he's crashing on the turf, and he's writhing in pain. Don't come to me saying, "Well, he's good in the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
He's wonderful. He helps our team win." He can't help your team win if he's on the bench.
Well, Cole, to add what you're saying, if for the Bills and for the Ravens, Allen and Lamar Jackson are basically their only running backs too.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're adding on an extra, title to their job description in a way.
And that's another layer of frustration.
What have I said about Lamar Jackson? What have I said about Lamar Jackson? I blame one person for the stunted growth of Lamar Jackson, and that person is Greg Roman.
Yep.
Because he did the same thing to Colin Kaepernick. He ran a lot of RPOs, and then they figured it, and defenses figured it out, and he kept getting hit.
They always do. Mm-hmm.
He kept getting hit.
Same thing with Brian Dable with the Bills. He's doing the same thing.
Yes, he's doing the exact same thing. Yeah. And I'm like, it's unfair to these quarterbacks because, to me, if you actually teach them correctly, I think they actually can be elite NFL quarterbers.
I'm not saying you got to be Tom Brady and sit in the pocket nonstop. You don't have to.
No.
Everybody's not built the same way. But there has to be a happy medium somewhere.
Yes.
Happy medium and quarterbacks in the same sentence. Figure that out.
It isn't where you call the quarterback's number to run a double-digit amount of times in a game.
Right.
No.
Yep.
Right.
It isn't that.
That's exactly right.
And you saw it Saturday night in Phoenix, Arizona, with Kyler Murray asked to run so much. And if y'all saw toward the end of the game, before they got their last points, he was limping. You can't tell me otherwise.
He's been hurt.
He was limping.
I think he's been hurt for the last month or so.
Which is going to cost Arizona in mid-January. They're going to call his number entirely too often in these last couple of games because Arizona is in the playoffs. They have clinched the spot.
Yeah. They clinched the spot.
They didn't say this during the broadcast, but they really miss DeAndre Hopkins.
Yes, they
badly.
do.
Really miss DeAndre Hopkins.
They miss him badly.
And they're trying to put Zach Ertz in his place. They're trying to.
Zach is a great tight end, but he's not a wide receiver.
Right.
As good a receiver, as good as a receiving talent he is. Exactly. He is not a wide receiver.
And AJ Green is not what he used to be.
Yes. He's not a wide receiver, the excellence level of a DeAndre Hopkins.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I totally agree.
They're going to call Kyler Murray's number once too often.
Once too many times.
And he's going to get pulverized.
Yeah.
And as far as Lamar Jackson and the Ravens go, you can write an epitaph to their season.
It's to the point, gentlemen.
You can write an epitaph to Lamar Jackson's season and the Baltimore Ravens season, and this is after they had a couple of great comebacks, one in Baltimore against the Colts, okay, and For a while, he made a liar out of me. He stood in the pocket and he made his reads and he made his passes from the pocket. But since that game against Indianapolis that they won in overtime, we've seen the same old Lamar Jackson.
Yep. And now I have heard the debate of, well, should the Ravens replace Jackson with Huntley? Because
no,
not a chance.
Jackson's a far better quarterback than Huntley is.
Exactly, he totally is. But this is why I was hearing. Well, because in the game against the Packers, Huntley looks like he actually can complete the types of passes that Lamar Jackson cannot. No.
Huntley's one of those guys that always look at as like a short-term solution where he's not ever going to be a starting quarterback in the league.
No, exactly.
No, he's not.
No,
he might fill in a week or two here or there for somebody if they're hurt or whatever, but he's not. He's going to be bounced.
He's going to get bounced around. He's going to get bounced around the league.
Yeah, he'll be like this iteration of Steve DeBerg, where. If your team doesn't have a long-term quarterback solution, yeah, he could start for a year, but more than likely he's going to be a backup, a quality backup to a good.
Oh, maybe the Panthers will sign him too. They need another crap.
He certainly won't put up the DeBerg numbers he had in 1990 with the Kansas City Chiefs. I'll tell you that much.
No, he will not.
Not with that putrid offensive line.
Well, putrid team in general.
Putrid team, yes.
Like Cole said, they just laid down and died yesterday.
They did. They did. They gift wrapped that division title to them. They gift wrapped that division title.
Probably the Bucs went in the locker room after the game and started laughing.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're going to play them again in 2 weeks.
Yep.
And they play them again in Tampa in 2 weeks. Yep.
I mean, could you have an easier 3-game stretch with the Bucs where you got at the Panthers, Jets, and then the Panthers again? You can't have an as easier 3-game stretch than that.
We go back to after they started 3-0 and then they lost to the Cowboys. Jay said there's a 6 to 7 game stretch for the Panthers to make some hay, and they lost nearly all of them.
All of them. They lost nearly all of them. Yeah.
They didn't take advantage of that at all, and they were fake. They were a fake team when they played the Cowboys that day.
Yep.
I knew it from the start. They didn't play anybody before that. Then the Cowboys exposed all their inadequacies and every other team that followed. Because I mean, the NFC East, except for the Cowboys, is awful, and they lost to every one of them.
They lost to all of them.
Lost to all of them. They lost to all of them. And I don't know how they lost.
Giants.
Yep. And
I did not. Yeah.
They got the opening points against the Giants. Didn't score again.
I don't know how they got mollywopped by the Giants.
The Giants.
The Giants. Of all teams, the New York Football Giants. They went into the Meadowlands, and I talked to Mick before he hit the road to travel, and Mick was concerned going into that game. If you're concerned going into a game against the New York Giants, then there's a big old problem with that.
Well, yeah. Look what's happened the last 8-9 games or whatever it's been, or 8-9-10 games or whatever it's been.
Yep.
I mean, they have done nothing.
And they will continue to do nothing unless they fix the problems they need to fix.
Now, I can't believe anybody other than Bucs fans paid to see that yesterday.
I agree with that.
I do too.
I agree. I agree with that.
And how many? Let's face it, guys. How many Bucs fans did you know before Tom Brady signed with the Bucs?
None.
None.
If I could count any on one hand, that would be the most I've ever known of a fan that's a Bucs fan.
Yep.
For the first 43 years, 43 years of their existence.
And since then, and since then, all these Bucs fans have come out of the closet.
It's Bucs jerseys.
It's sickening to me. Then Tom Brady shows up, and all of a sudden they're Buccaneers fans. Oh, yeah, riddle me this. What's the stadium they played in before they played at Raymond James?
They don't know.
They don't know. They don't know. Buccaneers fans today are like Miami Heat fans when LeBron joined them. And that's a subject for another discussion. We gotta get out of here. But Jay, always a pleasure to have you on, my friend. I really appreciate it, and I hope you have a great New Year.
Guys, thank you very much. I enjoyed it as always, and you guys do the same. Have a great New Year.
Have a great New Year, Jay.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
It's just like, we should open with that tomorrow. Teams that are fans that are bandwagon fans. And there are so many teams.
Oh Lord,
we can have some fun with that. Let's do one more thing before we break out of here, and I'm turning this into a daily segment, and I'm going to work it in earlier tomorrow. Start, bench, cut.
Okay.
So you've seen this post a post like this on Facebook as often as I have, where you have 3 players, start one, bench one, cut one. I'm just cutting the ones off of this.
Gotcha.
Warren Moon, Randall Cunningham, Michael Vick.
Okay.
You got to start one, you got to bench one, you got to cut one. And I'm going first. Start Warren Moon, skip the rest of them.
Okay, well, definitely start Warren Moon. We have to start with the only Hall of Famer of the 3,
which is Warren Moon.
Yes, Warren Moon. So if we start Warren Moon, Randall Cunningham comes off the bench because he did have an MVP-like season in 1998. So I give him mad kudos for that.
Mm-hmm.
And
bye Vic.
I have to cut Vic, man. I gotta cut him. I know, woke NFL fan. You're saying, well,
Vic, you know why. You know why.
Vic, he's Mr. Atlanta. Vic, he was electrifying. Vic, he was exciting.
So is Dominique Wilkins in Atlanta.
Vic has been cheated to the Hall of Fame because he basically revolutionized the quarterback position to what we see today.
Wrong.
It took having him be with someone who knew what the quarterback position is supposed to look like in NFL for him to actually look like a credible NFL quarterback.
Yes.
And it was not in any shape or form in any iteration when he was with the Falcons. It was his second year with the Eagles.
And what gets me is they actually believe Michael Vick is a Hall of Famer. What?
Yeah. And
he revolutionized the quarterback position at being a running quarterback. No, because Steve Young did it first
and did it better,
much better.
And the thing is, this has zero. And I know I can say this on your behalf too, Brian. This has zero to do with the dogfighting stuff and his being incarcerated.
Yeah,
I'm not even entertaining that at all.
This has nothing to do with that. This is pure unadulterated quarterback ability, and I'm sorry, Michael Vick ain't got it.
Yeah, talented athlete.
Same with Randall Cunningham.
And same with Randall Cunningham.
It took Cunningham till 1998 to finally learn how to throw the football more than 10 yards.
Yeah.
And I get crushed when I say things like that, but you're talking to a guy that was spoiled by Joe Montana and Steve Young for 25 years.
Well, see, the thing is, you looked at those 2 quarterbacks who they were stalwart figures of the 49ers collectively for 20 years.
Yes.
So you saw those 2 for 2 decades ply their trade, and you got a chance to see how the quarterback position does not necessarily need to have someone who's athletic.
Right.
But in the case of Young, if you have it, cool. Let that be something that you use in your back pocket.
Mm-hmm.
But the quarterback position is supposed to basically dissect every single thing a defense does and put the offensive pieces that you have in the proper position to operate, matriculate the ball down the field, and to continue to score. Yes, I love you, Hank Stram, forever, my man.
Thank you, Hank Stram, for that.
You saw 2 guys who they basically were playing chess to a lot of these defensive checkers and how they would put their pieces together to execute what the offense is supposed to do to make the defense look absolutely pathetic and pitiful. That is what a quarterback's supposed to do.
And
Vic
Warren
was the
Moon
type
did that.
he felt that. Yeah, Vic was the type that he felt as though he could do that all by himself.
Mm-hmm.
And every now and then whip a 40-yard pass downfield.
I mean,
and
Warren Moon did that in 2 leagues.
Yeah, and Warren Moon, he was almost just as athletic as Vic. He could tuck the ball and run.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what his forte was? Dissecting a defense in the pocket.
Yep.
And that arm. Because I have never seen a quarterback throw a tighter spiral than number 1, Warren Moon. Still have to this day. And that is how the quarterback position is supposed to be played. You're supposed to have him put the other 10 positions in the proper position every single time. And of course, I know half of them are offensive linemen. I know. But even then, you have to make sure that they are in the right position too.
Yep.
Otherwise, he himself will be put on the turf.
That's why I say start Moon, cut the others. I've seen the quarterback position over the past 45 years. They ain't
Moon's the best quarterback of the 3, and it's not even a debate for me.
It's not even close. We're out of here. Have a great day. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move. Always remember, if your dreams don't scare you, then they are not big enough. Dream big, do bigger. We are, and we hope y'all are too. And I will stop coughing, sweetie.